bells, jingle, jingle, jingle bells, jingle, jingle.
It's Eric Cohen of the CineFiles, and we have a very special episode for you today, considering the time of year that this has been uploaded and airing on thisisinfamous.com. It's our holiday episode where we'll discuss many holiday-themed films. Probably most of them will be Christmas, because we were scratching our heads trying to figure out other movies based on other holidays. Not a lot of Hanukkah films out there, not a lot of Thanksgiving films out there, or Valentine's Day films, which seems to be Jeff's favorite holiday for some reason. He's a romantic. 'Tis the season to be holly, or something. Happy Kwanzaa.
Is
it jolly?
We'll
yeah,
start
jolly.
over.
What's holly?
'Tis the season to be holly. Or jolly. Oh, it is jolly.
Yes, that's why I was like,
'Tis the
who's
season to
holly?
be holly.
Coffee.
Is she a porn star, Holly?
Has not sunk in yet. Yeah,
That's why I don't drink any.
The next
Usually.
triple X.
Yeah, exactly.
Say, we
It would
can
be
change
B in
subjects.
Holly.
Okay, so holiday movies.
We've gone too far.
We're taking this around the week after Thanksgiving. So we have all stuffed ourselves silly. We've taken a bit of a break and all that stuff. Now we've come back into it. Although this probably won't actually go online until, the next 2 episodes we're taping today will probably air before this. But the point is,
Just tell them everything.
we're in the throes of holiday season. We just finished Thanksgiving. Now in the process of Hanukkah, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's Hanukkah.
Right.
Where are my presents?
And then Christmas approacheth, as does
Christmas.
Kwanzaa, right? When is
Yeah,
Kwanzaa exactly?
Christmas approacheth.
I don't know.
So we decided
Does anyone celebrate Kwanzaa? Somebody has to, right?
I guess.
People in my family celebrate it,
Oh,
but
okay.
I don't
They do?
personally.
Because you don't hear
celebrate.
much about it anymore. It was like...
Tell me about Kwanzaa.
I said a person in my family celebrates it, not me.
So you don't know anything about it.
All I know is all my
I'll-
friends in high school would try and get out of stuff for
I
Kwanzaa.
just know, yes, I'm ashamed. I don't know much about Kwanzaa. I know you have to hand make the gifts, though. That's all I remember.
Oh, that's cool.
Interesting. Okay. Well, there you go.
Out of belly button lint.
So this is our holiday theme show, and I guess we're going to get into all sorts of holiday themed movies, right? Are we sticking just to Christmas theme?
Can we do Thanksgiving?
I thought it was a holiday theme.
Right, I thought so too.
Damn.
Can you think of any Thanksgiving movies? You mentioned Thanksgiving,
Right.
right? Then there's Eli Roth is,
Roth is?
Roth.
Eli Roth.
Roth.
Thanksgiving, whatever. That
Probably his best piece of work.
probably his best piece of work.
True.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a Thanksgiving movie.
The only one.
Well, it's
And-
just about the clusterfuck that is Thanksgiving.
right, and
the
we went into
traveling.
that in detail in our epic John Hughes episode. Remember that one?
Yes, the one
Oops,
we
oh,
get
sorry, I missed
that.
we get hate mail for. Yes.
Really? I love John Hughes.
Well,
What
we did a
happened?
2-parter, but by halfway through the second part, we realized there's nothing more to say.
So we just.
So we just
So
like
you
kind
did
of
a
sit
one,
there and
you
make.
did a 1.5 part.
Yeah, right. And we
By
got-
the end, you guys just held up a picture of Molly
we got
Ringwald and
so-
just
we
stared
didn't
at the
realize
camera.
there's so many diehard John Hughes.
And
fans out
unfortunately, he died a few months later, and then they thought we had filmed it after he died.
Right.
So.
Well,
But
Any publicity is good publicity,
It's
Tim.
a very, very funny movie. Steve Martin, John Candy,
John
were a great
Candy.
Yeah.
team.
and it's good for the. I mean, I think holiday movies are out there to make the pain of your family less by watching other people be in more pain with
Right.
what they're going through. So Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is
So you're
perfect for that.
laughing at his loneliness.
Exactly.
He has no wife.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
just laughing
home.
well, of course.
Well, then let's get on with the Christmas theme stuff, since that seems to be
I was
the
trying to think,
predominant-
where are all the Hanukkah movies?
Well, there was.
I don't know.
There was the cartoon.
You know what the problem is? Hanukkah is boring. That's why. That's why. As a Jew, I can say this. Hanukkah's boring.
What's his name? We All Hate Him. Adam Sandler movie.
Oh,
We
yeah.
don't hate
Oh,
him. He's
8
just
crazy something.
right. That was a Hanukkah theme movie.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
And how well did that do?
Wasn't it a hit?
Well, it did do well.
I thought it was a hit.
I never saw it, probably because
Yeah.
what's his butt is in it.
And he has that famous song.
The song is actually good. That is his best work, I would
Right.
say. Yeah, the
Is it?
Hanukkah
I wouldn't
song.
say it's his best work, but I do know the song.
The Hanukkah song, Happy Gilmore. That's it.
Red-headed sweatshirt. And
When it comes to Christmas, unfortunately, I know it's politically incorrect to focus on Christmas these days. According to Bill O'Reilly, there's a war on Christmas, right?
I wouldn't know. I don't
A
listen
war?
to him.
Oh, yeah, he's a jerk. But the point is that there seems to be a predominance of Christmas movies going all the way back to the beginning of film.
Well,
in
they
general.
make them to try and make you buy shit.
Well, you got Miracle
Right.
on 34th Street, right? The classic one. That's
I haven't
basically
seen
one
that
big
one.
ad for Macy's.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that film.
You've never seen that or the remake?
Nope.
If you saw that, you would
Actually,
just
there were
walk
two
into
remakes.
Macy's with your credit card and just put it down, and
Did you know there was like a made-for-TV remake of Miracle on 34th Street?
Really?
Starring
And how good was that?
Mr.
Mr.
Something.
French.
Oh.
He played Santa Claus in the made-for-TV remake.
Oh,
I would like to see Mr. Pink in the remake.
And in
He'd
the
be a
third-
very
in
skinny.
In the second remake, it was Richard Attenborough played.
I know the cast of the second one, I just never seen. And it had Dylan McDermott.
And Dylan McDermott, who always confused with Dermot Mulroney for some reason.
One has permanent 5 o'clock shadow, the other
Dylan.
doesn't. That's how you can always tell the difference.
What are our thoughts on holiday movies in general? Because there are some people that just love holiday movies. It's part of their tradition.
Well, some of them are made like the National Lampoon movies just to get you through the holidays because you're being so tortured by family that you
Right.
have to,
Well, there's the one.
Yeah.
Christmas
Vacation.
Christmas Vacation.
which
that
I
was-
saw in the theater.
Which was
Yeah.
funny.
I think it's been more funny over the years watching it than when I actually initially saw it, because I just got used to seeing it every year. So
Well, don't
that's
you
why I
think
enjoy
the
it.
holiday movies are like the holidays themselves, where they're just kind of fluffy?
It
and
depends on the holiday
They
movie.
don't really matter.
We-
You know what I mean?
I don't know because
If we want to break it down, there are the maudlin holiday movies, like
Yeah,
the
the
stuff they
overly
don't really
sweet.
make anymore. They usually put on like the Family Channel now. That
March
kind
of the
stuff.
Wooden Soldiers, my favorite.
March of
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I
That
consider
creeps me out,
maudlin,
that
though.
stuff.
But see, that's why I like it, because it's so creepy and it's a
That
holiday
That
movie.
Talk about that
and
for a
Rudolph,
second.
that stuff, it's
That is
awesome.
a
Rudolph is awesome.
Yeah, it's so creepy, though. It gives me nightmares a little bit.
It was originally called Babes in Toyland.
But isn't there also
Not to
a
be
movie
confused
called?
with Toys and Baby.
Yeah, it is. It's a long
Okay,
story.
I was about to say.
But then it became March of the Wooden Soldiers. It was originally called because it became like it was the Babes in Toyland that eventually became a movie was actually supposed to be a remake of March of the Wooden Soldiers.
Okay.
And then there was like another terrible remake with Keanu Reeves.
Oh, I
You know
saw
about
that one with young Drew Barrymore, and I forgot who the woman
Oh.
is, but I
How old
remember
is
seeing
Keanu Reeves if Drew Barrymore
He must
is...
have been in his 20s. This was like what?
back then.
Yeah, back then. It was like early in his career, like really early. It was around River's Edge.
Yeah, this
era,
was before
Keanu
Bill and
Reeves.
Ted.
Yeah.
That was his best work, I think.
But
Bill and Ted or
Bill and Ted.
but the original
That's the only one I believed him in.
Right. Well, the original March of the Wooden Soldiers is an impressive piece of fantasy. I mean, the set design is ridiculous. Laurel and Hardy are the stars, but they've got all these like creepy, like the special effects are basically marionettes.
Yeah.
But they're so effective. It almost has a stop motion quality. You're like watching, it's like, how the hell did they do that? It's not midgets in suits. Sorry, little people in suits.
Midgets don't watch our show.
And it took me a while growing up watching
do,
this
and
film
I'm
that it's
practically
actually it's
a midget.
marionettes, it's puppets, but it's so well done and so well integrated with everything else.
Yeah, that's why it's one of my favorite.
Just
holiday
any
movies.
inanimate object moving is going to be creepy, no matter what it is, especially if it's Christmas themed.
And it's a film that basically makes the argument that Santa Claus is a militant person, right?
Yes.
He supports the bombing of the bad guys, whatever. Is they bring out all he has a whole army of toy soldiers that goes out and fights the good fight. I don't know because I haven't done any research on the history of Christmas on film, to be honest. But I'm sure there was like various permutations of A Christmas Carol,
yes.
things like that prior to this. There was like a classic version of Christmas Carol.
Alistair Sim.
Ellister Sim, right?
Okay.
That's the one they seem to air every year.
That's the only one my mother watches.
I have to say my favorite version of it on film. Actually, I like Scrooge a lot. Scrooge is actually very
I
fun.
love. And that can be watched any time of
Yeah,
year.
Scrooge
though.
is okay.
Scrooge is very funny, but there's a musical version called Scrooge starring Albert Finney as Scrooge,
Don't ever make me watch that.
and it's
I will
Musical
leave.
and
I will
Albert
leave.
Finney
Don't
together.
Don't ever make me watch that.
it's fascinating.
Oh.
It's not good, but it's really fascinating to watch.
I thought you were going to go with the Patrick Stewart version.
Oh, I don't think I've seen the Patrick Stewart version.
I am shocked.
Have you seen the Muppet version?
Of course, hello. I'm Mr. Muppet.
Okay, and Michael Caine was Scrooge in that, right?
Yes. I forget.
I haven't seen the Muppet version.
You've never seen the Muppet version? You have to see the Muppet version of everything.
And that was a
that's
period where
right.
Michael Caine was accepting every job, anything. That was around the same time he did Jaws, whatever.
Jaws. No,
7
this
or
was a
something.
little after Jaws 4.
No, it wasn't around the same time.
Do you think
No,
he had
this
a
was more in
gambling
the
problem?
90s.
Or
That
what
was
going
like
on with him?
87 Jaws 4.
Cocaine,
I
gambling?
think he had tax issues or something.
yeah.
And,
He was the Christopher Walken of his day.
It's a Wonderful Life. It's
Yes.
probably
Yes.
the quintessential
My mother's favorite movie.
Christmas film. And what's interesting about It's a Wonderful Life, it's a pretty dark film too.
And long.
Pretty dark film. It is a bit long. It's one of those films I feel like I shouldn't like because it's so overplayed. But at the same time, I respect the hell out of it. It is a very well-made movie. And there's some, I mean, it's a Twilight Zone. It's an extended Twilight Zone episode. And there is some dark stuff in there. It's also the Spielberg movie Spielberg never made, basically.
That's one of his favorite films of all time.
Oh, really?
But it's an interesting film because even though it has a happy ending, the evil of that town is still around. He still exists. He's still in charge of things. So Gremlins is a holiday.
Well,
film.
see, like
I saw that recently again.
See, I'm the other way.
Don't feed me or my family after midnight, just so you know.
No, it's like how she hasn't seen a film since she was 10. I probably haven't seen Gremlins since I was 10.
You should go back and see Gremlins, though.
Gremlins is really cool.
Yeah, it's
That's
fun.
I prefer the sequel.
Really?
I do.
I haven't seen that since I was
The
14.
You
sequel
sound like
is,
him now.
the
You prefer
sequel
the...
is crazy.
What happens in the sequel?
The sequel is like basically Joe Dante's remake of Hell's a Poppin'. It's like it's the most surreal film. It's just like
And it's more satire.
It constantly breaks. Yeah, it's more satire. It constantly breaks the fourth wall. It's like a Looney Tunes cartoon. It's
Right.
like Joe Dante's thing, but it's not Christmas themed. But yeah, Gremlins is a lot of fun. It starts off very saccharine on purpose and becomes like an anti Steven Spielberg movie halfway through.
Well, I mean, to mention one film that's a holiday film, not exactly saccharine, but has a happy ending. It's not the greatest one, but I think it's hilarious. Just Friends with Anna Faris and Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
And I would say really the best part of the film is Anna Faris, because I think that's where she started getting her more comedic chops in, because she just plays.
I like just thinking about him watching Just Friends somewhere, like at your house watching Just Friends.
At the time, I liked Ryan Reynolds movies, so I watched it. And I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it at home more on a recommendation for a friend. But I was surprised at how funny I found the film. I mean, it's kind of demented, and, it's very predictable, but I liked the journey it took me on to get there.
I haven't seen it, so.
You should give it a chance.
It sounds like the kind of film you'd see that I wouldn't.
What the hell does that mean?
It's a romantic comedy, no?
Love Actually. That's actually
I want to say Truly, Madly, Deeply, but
that's actually my favorite holiday film.
Oh, really?
Love Actually.
We've gone to a very dark place.
It has a nice performance by Bill Nye as an aging rock star.
Oh.
And he's they have that one last success. He cuts that like single that's like a holiday song.
And his producer ends up being his the greatest love of his life, non-romantically.
Right.
You have Billy Bob Thornton, Bad Santa himself, in a cameo in that film.
Right, as the president of the United States.
And this film came out right after 9/11 and has a message about 9/11 in the beginning. I just loved it. I went to see it in a theater. I didn't expect much. I don't really like Hugh Grant movies, but I have to say I really found myself emotionally tearing up watching the film. And so. And
it has a rather nice performance by Liam Neeson before he entered his Harrison Ford / aging Sean Connery action.
And I don't like to give Liam Neeson praise, but I thought he did a.
It's okay. It's. I'm not a fan of the film.
Come on, Emma Thompson in that film? She's heartbreaking in that film.
Yeah, but
with the rom-coms.
It has really good actors in it, and that's what saves the film. I mean, like Alan Rickman, plays the husband who's having an affair.
Rickman.
And
he can do anything.
Really, it classes up the movie a lot. Speaking of Bad Santa, Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh,
Bad Santa.
Bad Santa. Replacement for the great Bill Murray.
Yeah, Bill Murray and Jack Nicholson.
Really?
Wow, I didn't know
I would have
Jack
liked to see Jack Nicholson as
Nicholson
Bad
and
Santa.
Bill Murray. But
That'd be sweet.
Billy Bob Thornton's fantastic.
Yeah, no, he is
surprisingly.
really good.
To the extent where I can't, I mean, I could see them in it, but Thornton does some physical stuff. I rewatched the film yesterday.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious. It's so funny.
He's amazing at. And
I like the little. Who's the guy playing the little elf guy? What's his name?
Tony Brown.
I'm in love with that guy. He is so silly. Oh my god.
The whole thing, but the dynamic between John Ritter and Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac, when he's eating those oranges and he's just staring at John Ritter as Ritter's so completely intimidated by his presence. and God bless John. Man, we lost a real talent there, because that was a very funny man, very talented physical comedian as well.
Yes.
And just his scenes of just trying to navigate the right semantics without sounding politically incorrect. It's just brilliant. The whole film is just hilarious. Like Thornton beating up on a 14-year-old kid.
Yeah, that's amazing.
One of the best scenes.
It's amazing. What about Trading Places? That's a
Trading
movie.
Places. Yeah.
My favorite Christmas thing that happens
Christmas
in that.
and New Year's.
Yeah. Yeah, my favorite thing about that is him trying to eat steak through his dirty beard, Dan Aykroyd, when he's like at the bottom.
Yeah,
and I love that anytime I see a drunk Santa, I'm just expecting that to happen. Him just pulling meat out of his beard and eating it. Yeah.
Home for the Holidays with Holly Hunter, which I thought was going to be a great holiday film. Then I saw it in theaters, and it was horrible.
I'm just so... I don't know whether to be impressed or disappointed that you've gone out and seen these films. Like,
well, okay.
Yeah, you had me at Love Actually.
Wait,
like, let
me give a little history on that project. It was directed by Jodie Foster. It was an all-star cast with, for some odd reason, I'm a big fan of Anne Bancroft at the time too. Charles Durning, unfortunately Dylan McDermott. Who else was in it? Robert Downey Jr.
Why, unfortunately, Dylan McDermott?
I just don't like him. Nothing personal against him.
He speaks really highly of you. I don't know what your problem is.
He's playing a lot of villain roles lately.
Well, he's got that constant 5 o'clock shadow. That bugs me. I don't know why, but it really bugs me about him. And he just seems like a Lothario, an aging Lothario.
He was great in American Horror Story, the first 2 seasons.
I watched the first season. I didn't get to see the second season. But anyway, getting back to Dylan McDermott. Well, but the film, and also at the time, Claire Danes was fresh off of My So-Called Life, and I was a big fan of hers. And at the time, I really respected Jodie Foster films that she directed. And I mean, it was the first film she directed after Little Man Tate, so. I mean, I went to the theater, and it looked like a great kind of anti, but also holiday comedy, but I just sat there bored for the whole 2 hours.
The comedies are good, you know, like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and Home Alone and all of those things, but most of it is just like everything else, where they're
Christmas
just pushing
Evil,
you to go
Black
shopping.
Christmas.
Black Christmas is great, so
Silent
creepy.
Night, Deadly Night.
That's good, I love that movie.
Briefly touched upon in our slasher episode, but didn't go into too much detail, but directed by the great Bob Clark.
Yes.
Who could be erratic, you know, but Bob Clark, this is the big irony, Bob Clark made not only Black Christmas, one of the seminal jump starts, the slasher, you know, arguably one of the early
films, that's
right?
a crazy movie, that's good.
But he also made another popular, pop culturally resonant Christmas movie, which is A Christmas Story.
Really?
Yeah, A Christmas
My
Story.
grandmother's favorite
And
Christmas
Porky.
film.
So this guy's like, he did Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, his Night of Living Dead ripoff, right? He did Death Dream, which is a phenomenal horror film.
Really? I never saw that one.
You gotta check that out. We're talking, if Cassavetes ever made a horror film, it would be Death Dream. It's this post-Vietnam variation of The Monkey's Paw.
Huh.
Incredibly creepy. And then Christmas Story, Porky's. This guy's done it all.
Just the fact
Baby
that he made
Geniuses.
Christmas Story and then Porky's should be enough for anyone.
And the late great Bob Clark, I should say. But Christmas Story, Black Christmas, 2 films that couldn't be more different. Both classics, I guess, in their own
See,
right.
he understands Christmas.
He wants to show both sides
Both
of the spectrum.
sides of the coin.
I'm one of those. I have a nostalgic fondness for A Christmas Story.
As do I.
Well, because you've been forced to see it 150 times.
Well,
in your
I
lifetime.
almost saw it twice in theaters. For some odd reason,
What do you mean almost? Like you walked
I never.
in and was like, nope, walked
I
out.
always have.
I'm going to see Love Actually.
No, I would see the first half. Then we had to leave for some reason. Then I went to see it a second time, and I only saw the second half, but not the first half. So over the years, I've connected the films
If
on
there
cable.
was like 2 sequels to Love Actually, you'd actually go out of your way to see the third one first.
Of course. Well, that was also because of age. I usually
And that'd
see
be the one that would
films
be like made
backwards.
for ABC. That's how far down the food chain they go in like sequels.
Don't like my unorthodox way of seeing films sometimes. Okay.
Did you see
Sequel
the
first?
sequel to Christmas Story that came out like last year?
Oh,
Like,
I
direct
never.
to DVD.
I didn't want to.
Like Charles Grodin
disillusion.
just, like,
Really?
did a comeback, and apparently it's awful. It's terrible.
Well, they kind of made us. They made several sequels to A Christmas Story that weren't Christmas themed, but then they made A Christmas
they
Story
did?
too. Yeah, there was one in the mid '90s with Jerry O'Connell as was Ralphie, and it was about him getting a summer job.
I didn't know that.
And then there was another one with was the other Culkin, Kieran Culkin, that they released in theaters. I don't remember the
other
name
Culkin.
of it. Well,
I don't
the
believe
Culkin
you.
we don't know as well.
You're making this up, and you're fucking.
I will, in a future episode, show you the evidence of these films.
Fragile must be Italian.
What about Nightmare Before Christmas?
Nightmare Before Christmas, absolutely.
Which I never saw in
Which
theaters.
combines 2 holidays, Halloween and Christmas, in one fell swoop, which is a great movie.
And I love the soundtrack.
It's great soundtrack.
How long did it take to make? 4 years or something?
I don't know.
Yeah, it took a really, obviously it took a really
It was
long time.
obviously like a passion project for him,
Yeah.
even though he didn't direct it.
Yeah.
And
Santa Claus the movie.
Do not diss that movie. I know it's
Producers of
horrible.
Superman, the movie.
I know it's horrible, but it has two of my favorite people from the 80s, Dudley Moore and John Lithgow.
It's such a weird movie.
Dudley Moore is your favorite person from the 80s?
One of my favorite people from. He's short. I have a whole connection to him in that way.
Right.
He's short and he's a comedian, so of course.
I don't have
like
that much memories over Santa Claus the movie. Tell you honestly,
I used to watch that every year as a kid on television.
To recognize what was a bad movie and what was good, you know.
So your memory was click.
All I heard was like, "Oh, this movie is like this big box office bomb, and it's supposed to be one of the worst movies of that
Candy
year."
canes that make children float and that later they find are explosive. That is one of the main plot concerns
I hope you've
of
all
this
learned
film.
something.
See, I put that out of my memory.
That Dudley Moore helped create as a disillusioned elf because he didn't get enough credit as an elf under Santa.
Elf.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Will Ferrell, right?
It's funny.
It's
Will Ferrell.
Likeable.
It's funny.
It's likable.
Khan is really funny.
Yeah.
He's got a good slow burn. He's good at this, being the straight man.
Well, I just think that of James Caan every day. He just looks at things just in a totally different
Elf
way.
is one of those things where it was funny, but it could also just be a Saturday Night Live skit of 3 minutes, and then you're out of there.
True.
True.
I completely.
But him in
agree.
tights, I mean, it's hilarious. Walking through Manhattan.
It
It's
had
pretty
Bob
funny.
Newhart. That's all I'm
Yeah.
going to say about
Bob
it.
Newhart. Yes. Christmas in Connecticut. We haven't even gotten to that. That's a screwball comedy. Okay. That's about a person who fakes a whole family and everything to impress her, like magazine editor.
Well, there's also that bad Ben Affleck movie that steals that plot, but it has a different title, Surviving Christmas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't see it.
I never even heard of that.
It has James Gandolfini in it. I remember the previews, and I remember seeing a scene when it came on television, but I've never watched it.
Well, that was A Christmas in Connecticut was remade and directed by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I know, that's the one I thought initially you were talking about. That's why I was like, with Diane Cannon.
That one I actually want to see.
No, it's like the original one is Barbara Stanwyck.
Santa Sleigh, starring Bill Goldberg, which was produced by Brett Ratner, starring Bill Goldberg as a mystical killer Santa, not just a slasher. And it has and for some odd reason, it has an all-star.
For those, who is Bill Goldberg?
Oh, he was a WCW wrestler, and I think he might have gone to the WWE, but he was very popular because he was also the first Jewish World Wrestling Champion.
Okay.
And so, obviously, he got aged out, or I guess decided to leave the organization. So they made this. So he tried to be an actor, and he was like a Universal Soldier, one of those many sequels they made of that. But in this film, for some odd reason, I guess taking a hint from Scream, they have this early scene with like all these semi-celebrities like Fran Drescher, what's his name, Chris Kattan, and a bunch of other actors who I can't remember, but he basically comes down a chimney and slaughters all of them in this whole first scene. And the rest of the film...
pretty good.
So that's kind of like Scream?
Yeah, I said it was Scream inspired. But no, the rest of the film is the usual teenagers.
He calls first.
You know, people start dying, and then the teenagers have to figure out a way to stop this killer supernatural Santa. And it was probably the last time I actually saw Saul Rubinek in a film.
And this is a film you went out of your way to see?
It was on DVD.
It was right after Love Actually.
I was like, wait, Fran Drescher is in this. I gotta watch it.
So we go from one athlete starring in a holiday-themed movie to
Can we back that up to Fran Drescher? I have to see that.
Oh, Fran Drescher? Yeah.
Yes, I'm a
Fran
big
Drescher.
Nanny fan, and I like Dr. Detroit, okay?
Okay.
And so sue me.
I might, for Dr. Detroit alone. Anyway, go on with
Anyway,
yours.
so we go from one like muscle-bound guy starring in a holiday film to another, Jingle All the Way, with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Speaking of
Yes!
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I have seen that, not in theaters. And starring young Darth Vader, Jake Lloyd, who's just as horrible in that film as he was in the Star Wars films.
Which is really sad.
And the only reason I think they cast Sinbad in this movie because he was one of the few actors and known comedians who matches Arnold Schwarzenegger, at least height size. Because really, there's no reason for him to be in the film or play the villain. You might as well just had reunited him with Danny DeVito. They actually came out with a figure called Action Man that was obviously modeled after Arnold Schwarzenegger in a costume. And then at the end, he has to put on the costume to impress his son.
Talk
I
about
just like talking
holiday.
about Chucky.
The guy who seems one of our favorite screenwriters and now filmmakers, who is obsessed with Christmas.
Shane Black. And
Yeah, The Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
You have Long Kiss Goodnight. You have
Iron Man. Is Iron Man 3 set
Iron Man
around?
3
is
set around Christmas time.
Kiss Kiss Bang
Kiss Kiss
Bang.
Bang Bang.
Kiss Kiss
Yeah,
Bang
that was a
Bang,
great movie.
especially, which is fantastic. We've gone on about.
He directed that one, yeah.
He directed it as well, yeah. But he's like obsessed with Christmas. I have to talk about this because one of my favorite holiday films of all time. And I mentioned this before on the show. My dad traditionally would take me to see a screening of this every year at our local cinema. Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. Love that movie. One of the worst movies ever made.
Is that a Mystery Science Theater
I've never
movie?
seen it.
Because I'm like, I think I've seen that, but it was Mystery Science Theater.
He has Adora,
yeah.
but I've never
Awesome.
seen it. I've
There's a
heard
little
about
Martian. It's awful, but it's so entertaining. Why are you partial to Valentine's Day?
Because it's not, because people argue it's a made-up holiday, even though you don't get the day off.
Hallmark holiday.
But I don't know. I guess it's just the whole idea is this is supposed to be the most romantic day of the year. And if it's the most romantic day of the year, it's also, for a lot of people, the most heartbreaking day of the year. And I guess I find that duality interesting. And, I mean, any romantic comedy can be a Valentine's Day movie, but I don't find that many are around that theme of the actual day. So my thing would be, if I wanted to make a holiday movie, it would be a film that took place on that particular day, when you have romance all around you and also heartbreak around you.
Well, there's My Bloody Valentine. Which
Yeah. Okay, a
for some
good
reason
film.
forgets it takes place on Valentine.
They just needed a
It's
title.
all focused on the mining. the
Exactly.
miner slasher guy. But I think that's interesting. I mean, for me, Valentine's Day is a day I'm like, oh yeah, I have to find a place to take my girl out for dinner. You know, that's what I.
And it's too late because you didn't get reservations.
It hit me too late. Halloween's my favorite holiday of the year.
Yeah, me too.
Be honest.
But it already has a pretty good
But
movie.
if I were to do like a Christmas movie, like a Christmas film, probably some sort of crime on Christmas, you know, I don't know, bunch of like suited Santa Clauses, you know, have to do some major heist.
Oh! Reindeer Games! There you go!
Yes, Reindeer Games, that's right. Which, you know what? It's not a good film, but it's not as bad as its reputation says it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you just want a basic action film,
It's
it's
a
fine.
very entertaining movie. And Ben Affleck isn't that bad. I'm going through like a Ben Affleck revisiting thing. Now that he's proven himself to be a somewhat talented director.
Well, watch Surviving Christmas.
and then change your mind right back.
No.
I would do Rosh Hashanah with Killer Jews.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, but you would make that film.
Yeah,
So
I might
exactly.
actually.
It's not even
In the
like
se-
a
yeah.
It's not a pipe dream. Like, I've got the script half
Yeah,
written.
exactly.
Yeah.
Jingle, 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 jingle.
I just hate shopping, so any movie that centers
So
on
you
any
don't
kind
like-
of shopping, I can't.
Do it all online, man.
Yeah,
Cyber
even then.
Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Black Fridays.
Dashing through the snow, one horse open sleigh.
Did you get all your shopping done for the holidays?
Hell no.
I haven't even started.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
One fella is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight.